You don't have anything sharp on you that I can stick myself with, do you?
No.
Good. Because I do.
Hello, welcome to What the Flick. We're talking about Magic Mike, and some of us might strip after this. So stay tuned for a web extra. Someone's been to the gym, and some of us have not, like me. I'm Christy, this is Ben,
There you
somewhere
go.
over here.
There you are.
There's Ben, Miss Lonzo. And the lovely Gray Drake is back
Woo!
because she's so pumped to talk about Channing Tatum's abs.
And we read the comments. The comments want more Gray.
More Gray.
And they want less flip-flops.
So what shoes are you wearing? Can we talk about your shoes for a
We
second?
can. See, I've just some normal
Fewer
wedges.
flip-flops.
Everyone calm down. You can't see my toes.
You can see
I
my
understand.
I have
It's
sassy
fine.
boots.
Yeah, you got some nice boots.
That's why I'm in this chair today for you foot fetishists.
Here's what else
Feed the trolls.
Here's what else they want. Here's what else they want. Get to the point.
So Miss Gray, please describe.
review.
Please describe Magic Mike to us, Miss Gray.
All right, you got it. So, Magic Mike is loosely based on the life story of Channing Tatum, who before he was a super mega movie star was an exotic dancer, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Sure, there's plenty of abs and oiled up pecs and thumping beats on stage while guys wearing chaps just swing them at your face. But it's also about this, everybody. They're real people with real brains and real dreams in their real bodies. They're not just there for your amusement. They are genuine living human beings, and you need to listen to what they are saying, or something like that. Whatever. I was there for the stripping.
Why stripping?
Women, money, and a good time.
Just try not to forget about the people who exist in the daylight, the non-vampire.
Are we fighting? Is this our first fight?
So if you could do the one thing that made you the happiest every morning,
The custom furniture.
custom furniture. So you must be really good with your hands.
So what's interesting about a lot of this vein of Soderbergh films is that he takes these very sexy topics and strips them of all of the sexiness, right? If you look at The Girlfriend Experience, it was pretty dry.
Yeah.
This has a lot of sexy moments. The moments on stage are really, really fun and very
Right.
gratuitous. But it's about like the minutia of them going thong shopping and them lifting weights backstage. And
Leave it to Steven
Right.
Soderbergh to give a movie about male stripping. Integrity. Boo! Integrity. Thumbs down.
Going stripping for thongs and working out backstage and using the penis pump backstage to get ready for the performance.
That was a moment.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted more of that, frankly. I didn't feel like this movie dug very deeply into past the surface of this sort of crazy, world that they're exploring. And I don't know. I did not particularly like this movie. I don't think that it has anything interesting to say about male stripping. And if you are using this world as an excuse to either tell an interesting story or do a character study, I didn't think the story was very interesting. I didn't think the characters were very interesting. And as far as the whole, it's really about the economy. It's really about desperate people in desperate economic straits. He does that better in The Girlfriend Experience.
But
I
he
think.
balances both like the fun titillation of it, but also some realism and some substance. I mean, there is more to Channing Tatum than meets the eye.
There is, definitely. And there's substance to the characters, but that doesn't make the substance necessarily interesting, to go to what
not
Alonzo said.
for me anyway, yeah.
I thought that you mentioned the word gratuitous, and I thought the sort of moments of the shopping for the stuff and the pumping up of the penis.
With the pump.
There's
with
only
the
one
penis.
scene of that. Don't get
a good
crazy.
But they hold that shot for a long time.
I thought the relationship, Channing Tatum's relationship, was more interesting than you did, although I totally see your point. But the gratuitous part is what kept this from being, I thought, a really excellent movie, because I got it, and this is not, hey, look at me being a guy, I don't want to see guys dance. I got that. If this roles had been reversed and it were about female strippers, at scene 4 of them on stage, I've been like, I got it. I know how this goes.
Yeah, because it's not like, they don't go to that place where you'd never see this in a real strip club, but it's a movie, so we can do these big, crazy, elaborate numbers. They don't go that direction, but they also don't make them particularly interesting strip numbers that you would see in a nightclub. They're just, I didn't find any of them all that interesting.
It felt really repetitive. The stripping felt so repetitive.
Speak for yourself.
Right.
I really enjoyed watching these guys take their clothes off. I can't even talk. I'm so verklempt. No, I enjoyed that part of it, but I'm mourning the loss of what this movie wasn't.
Right.
I was so surprised that we were listening to these guys talk.
It's not burlesque.
I thought, yeah,
it's not
it's not
Showgirls.
burlesque.
No.
It's not Showgirls,
No.
and that was so disappointing to me because I wanted it to be campier than it was. But
Soderbergh doesn't do camp.
It doesn't, and when I actually think about it as far as like a Soderbergh movie goes, I feel like it was pretty darn good. I'm just still getting used to it. Like I'm
Okay.
easing into the fact that these guys were, they're talking about money and oh yeah, my girlfriend.
What surprised me was there was an early 80s TV movie called For Ladies Only with Gregory Harrison as a male stripper. Very important to my adolescence, but that's a whole other story. And the thing is that there are two main characters in that movie, and one is the guy who becomes famous stripping but really wants to be doing something else with his life, and there's the one who gets all fucked up on drugs and ruins everything. And you get that in this movie. I'm like, oh my God, you're remaking For Ladies Only?
No.
Really?
So you were a Gregory Harrison guy, because I was a Purnell Roberts guy.
Well, to each his own.
No, you're right.
I know about your daddy thing.
No, it is a very formulaic kind of rise and fall, a cautionary tale of getting too much too soon. It definitely it is.
Yeah, the sordid
planned in that
showbiz
way.
cliches.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot like Boogie Nights too. I mean, the comparisons are kind of inevitable,
Yes.
but it just hasn't have all the histrionics and all the high style of a Boogie Nights. But they're very similar.
Good.
It feels a little bit like a stripping movie as done by the Duplass brothers.
I would like to see that. Well, actually, you do see Mark Duplass take off his hoodie in what is it? Your Sister's Sister. He does get
Yeah.
naked. There's a sex scene in there.
I did like Cody Horn.
Cody
is that her?
Horn, yeah.
Cody Horn as Alex Pettifer's sister. She was the most grounded and interesting character in the movie for me, and I thought her scenes with Channing Tatum were the best parts of it.
So did I, and I thought if we'd had 9 more minutes of them establishing what their relationship was and why it was important, and maybe a scene where when we got introduced to who was the
Riley Keough.
when we got introduced to
Yes.
Riley Keough, who seemed to come out of nowhere, and then is all of a sudden we're supposed to believe incredibly important.
Yeah, she's the bad girl.
And 9 fewer minutes of stripping. I still think they meet your strip threshold where you're still into it. But I would have felt like we had a more complete movie, and the way I felt through the first 30 minutes, which was, I think I love this, and then it just went down and down and down.
Because I was there for the stripping, and I didn't think the stripping was very good, frankly.
Did you not enjoy, though, Matthew McConaughey essentially being Matthew McConaughey?
Matthew McConaughey is
so
on
good.
a roll lately,
Yeah.
because I got to where I'd never ever wanted to see him in a movie again.
Right.
But after like Lincoln Lawyer and Bernie and
Killer
this and
Joe,
Killer Joe, which
he's
we'll be
great
talking
in.
about in a couple months,
Yeah.
he's got his mojo back.
Yeah.
He knows
on it.
what he
No
does
question.
well, and he's doing it right.
Yeah, because to be clear, we all thought he was really good.
Fantastic.
Yes, no question.
And it's not just because he's leather pantsed and oiled up and all that. I mean, as he gets older, he's doing darker and more dangerous kinds of roles, so he's not so eager to please us and be cute and charming anymore, I don't think. And
One of the best movies that he's done since Dazed and Confused, I thought, where it seems like he's coming out, and that's what I want to see is Matthew McConaughey on screen. I don't even want him to act. Forget about it.
Well, but it's interesting that he's taking a secondary role here. You know, he's not. It's not a
He
star
plays the
thing
sort
for
of the
him.
guy who runs the strip club.
Yeah, he's a strip club owner, and he's kind of a bastard, and you know, and
But an interesting bastard.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think he is one of the best things in this movie. Between Soderbergh having traversed this with the girlfriend experience, between so much of this movie feeling like kind of tired showbiz cliches, and the strip sequences being neither like mind-blowing or even clever, I don't know. And look, I was all in for naked Channing Tatum. I was in for that, and I still have not,
Before we go, real quick, because it's his movie and his story, sort of, what do we think of his performance?
I always like him. I thought for a long time there was much more to Channing Tatum than meets the eye. Yes, he's very pretty, but he's also an amazing dancer, which he choreographed, I think, his own stuff, right? The scene where he's wearing the hat and the little vest and like nothing else, he choreographed that. I'm a fan. I've always liked him.
Could you imagine how that conversation went? He's like, yo, Steven Soderbergh, I just want to put on a little vest.
and a sideways hat, just to be extra street.
And then I'm going to pop and lock.
No, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's
I thought
totally
he was
fine.
pretty good. He had moments. I thought when he, again, I liked him better in the sort of the more grounded moments. And
if you're coming in for Joe Manganiello or Matt Bomer, they have almost no dialogue.
Not enough of them at all. But I thought Channing Tatum
thought he was
was
good.
great.
Yeah,
I thought he totally held my attention. And as it turns out, I actually enjoy listening to him speak. Who
his
knows?
best, his best performance since Dear John.
21 Jump Street.
He was good in 21 Jump Street.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
good year for him. Hey, The Vow.
Dear John was unwatchable. What is
I will
that?
fist fight anybody that says The Vow is a bad film.
That was not bad. Okay, can we do numbers,
Yeah.
please, friends? What are our numbers? Do we remember our numbers?
Let's start with the low man on the totem pole.
I'm a 7.2. Sorry, I'm the wrong one. I'm a 4 actually.
You
I'm
are
sorry.
4.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
we shouldn't try to memorize things.
I know. See, that's a bad
Let's not
idea.
think for ourselves. We don't know our own numbers.
I can't believe you gave this a 4.
It's a disappointment, and I think.
Give me your wallet so I can take out your gay card.
But don't you think that this will be like Sex in the City in that straight women and gay men can go and like have a party and go
Yes.
get Cosmos afterward?
And
or
they're going to
before?
be disappointed.
Yeah,
You
they're
think so?
gonna want stiff drinks afterwards because this is kind of a bummer. This
Yeah,
movie.
but they're gonna have sexy moments where they're gonna go woohoo.
God, man,
The
I couldn't
fact that
take
this-
more of that.
The fact that this movie is not in 3D just means that they have saved enough money to have an extra martini. You need it.
And gay
wasted.
guys have actual porn to watch. They don't need to see guys running around in thongs and whatever.
And construction worker costumes. Okay,
Yes.
I'll say 0, 4.
I'm a 4,
Grant,
sorry.
what do you have?
I say the movie that I ended up with, although not what I expected, 7.9.
You say.
It was headed to in the 8s, and then it started to fall steadily. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I thought McConaughey was good enough, and I liked the girl, so 6-8.
I'm giving it a 7. Our average is 6.4. It is in the 78% range in Tomatoland. So, sexy time.
I haven't posted mine yet.
So so if it's raining, men's gonna start playing right about now. Bye.
Yeah, that's good. No.